Hi, so this video was also uploaded on my other channel, Eric Knows Nothing, but if you're here for basketball talk, you are in the right place, so please subscribe and leave a like. I'd greatly appreciate it as I try to build this channel and community up. I'm excited to finally have a place that's just about ball, so this is relieving to me because I feel less pigeonholed, but anyway, on to the actual important stuff. Y'all know hoodie Melo, sunglasses LeBron, untucked jersey Kyrie, but goofy ass pregame outfit James Harden might have to go in that category now as bro dropped 42 looking like this before the game, and in game 1 he had 45 after wearing that Cookie Monster costume. So coincidence? I don't think so. As for the beginning of this game, Jaylen Brown started off hot with 12 of the Celtics' first 14, but picked up 2 quick fouls, so he had to sit for the remainder of the first. And Philly held Boston to just 19 points in the first because of that, and Tatum's first half struggles, but we'll talk about that in a sec. But it wasn't just because Boston was struggling shooting the ball. The Sixers played smothering defense by showing a bit of zone mixed in with their standard defense. It was definitely different from game 3. Jason Tatum started this game 0 for 8, and I kept having to add to the stat the amount of jump shots he missed because I originally put this stat down like, oh, he started 0 for 5, like not really that important, but 0 for 8. He ended up making one wide open pull-up, so he had 2 points on 1 for 9 from the floor in the first half, but he did have 9 rebounds, so it's all good, I guess. And he did finish this game with 24 points and 18 rebounds and was much more aggressive and assertive in the second half. But for the Celtics to win the championship this year, they have to have Tatum for all 4 quarters. Even 3. 3 is fine as long as one of the 3 is the fourth quarter, and then Jaylen Brown can pick up the slack everywhere else. Tatum also took way too long to initiate the offense on that last play in overtime where Marcus Smart took that 3 and made it, but it obviously wasn't out of his hands yet. If Tatum had been his usual self in the first half, I feel like this is a 3-1 series going back to Boston. The main reason why it isn't a 3-1 series right now was James Harden, who completely took over the third quarter of this game and hit that huge corner dagger 3 to put the Sixers up in overtime. He actually shot the ball when he should have, unlike game 3 where he was very hesitant. He was touching the paint in game 3, but it was really weird. He would always make these last-second passes to the corner. He was very passive, but this game, entirely opposite. And you love to see it because he brought a victim from the Michigan State shooting to this game, which is a reminder that you got to remember that when people critique basketball players, it's about what's on the court. Usually, most players in the NBA are great, normal people who just happen to be playing a sport for a living. Now, I'm not going to ignore the way Embiid played today. And while, yes, he was passive for a bit down the stretch because Al Horford put the fucking clamps on him, but he played well, ending with 34 points and 13 rebounds on 11 for 26 from the floor, which is lower than you'd want it to be, especially with most of his shots coming in that mid-range area where it feels automatic for him on some nights. But a win is a win. It is what it is. But if Al Horford is going to continue to play defense like he did this game, it's very well possible that that's the key for the Celtics to win this series because Joel looked entirely frustrated and passive with about 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter until PJ Tucker yelled in his face, which that moment and the and one he got with about a minute left made it entirely worth it to tamper for him and lose that second round pick because he's been statistically one of the worst starters in the NBA this year. But yeah, he played great tonight, even though you wouldn't have been able to tell unless you watched the game. But that's why you have a player like PJ Tucker. That's why he won a championship in Milwaukee. But I mean, the dude had 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist in 31 minutes and shot 2 for 5 from the field and 1 for 4 from 3. It's nothing crazy, but this is the reason why you have that kind of player. I mentioned this earlier, but no minutes for Jalen McDaniels tonight shows that Doc has the confidence in
his defense
without him on the floor. Because of that, there was no reason to bring him off the bench. Plus, Harden was holding his own guarding Brogdon one-on-one on some possessions. And it's not like Malcolm Brogdon is this ISO god or something, but Harden is usually a negative on the defensive end. I mean, we all know this. But today, not only was he not a liability, but he also had some positive plays on that end of the floor that are championship level plays a player needs to make in order to get past a team like Boston in the playoffs. This is the way the Sixers need to be playing every single game. And this is the way Harden needs to be playing. Not necessarily having to have 42, 45-point games, but he does need to participate on the defensive end, and he needs to make the right plays on offense. And a lot of the time in Game 3, the right play on offense was him taking a floater, and he just looked timid or nervous, and this game, there was none of that. I mean, the man shot 16 for 23 from the floor and 6 for 9 from 3 on his way to 42 points and 9 assists. Like, that's just a masterclass. Anyway, the second game of today was Suns versus Nuggets. And this game, before we address like what actually happened in the game, we got to talk about this random beef that led to an owner flopping back into his seat. This whole Jokic and Matt Ishbia thing that was so odd. Like, yeah, why is Ishbia holding onto the ball here? Like, what are you doing? But also, Jokic, why are you trying to rip it out of his hands? I mean, I know you want to inbound the ball as fast as possible, and it's Jokic, so I can guarantee you that he didn't know that was the owner of the Suns he was ripping the ball from. But you're just doing too much. It was one of the weirder things that's happened this playoffs, and there's been a lot of weird things, but this one was just pretty odd, especially since Matt Ishbia has been the owner of the Suns for about 2 months now. Just weird. Just reminds me a lot of Mark Cuban. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Coming from a Mavs fan, I don't really know if it's a good thing or bad thing at all. So anyway, the shit that actually matters. Devin Booker was absolutely cooking in the first half. He had 19 points, 8 for 10 from the floor, and then proceeded to play just as well in the second half, ending with 36 points and 12 assists. Most of these assists coming in the fourth quarter, I assume, because the Nuggets were throwing this double team trap where Jokic and whoever was guarding Booker, typically Bruce Brown, would come up and double him and trap him. But Devin Booker has been so good this playoffs that you start to forget that Kevin Durant is your other option here. Like Kevin Durant has felt like the second option for most of this playoffs this year, which is insane. I don't even think you could have said that back in the Russ, KD, OKC years. That being said, Durant did have an efficient 36 points, 11 rebounds, on 11 for 19 shooting, and 12 for 3 from the charity stripe, which he was great. Knocked down some big free throws and was his typical self, which is crazy because typical self for Kevin Durant is 36 points, but that's Kevin Durant for you. The big lift they got today, though, which is something Phoenix has to have every game now to win this series, especially with Chris Paul out, was from Landry Shamet, who couldn't miss from the corner in the fourth. He had 12 in the fourth, including 9 straight, all from three-pointers. This was mostly due to that Jokic, Bruce Brown double team I talked about earlier, where the Nuggets would rotate MPJ down to guard Ayton in the post, leave Murray on the weak side, and basically live with that corner three, whoever was there. And while that works decently well when the shooter is Torrey Craig, who got 0 minutes today, by the way, or TJ Warren, or even Terrence Ross, but it didn't work with Shamet today, and that was key for the Suns. Something to worry about? Well, I mean, we've been worrying about this, is Ayton had 8 points tonight and damn near split time with Jock Landale, who outplayed him tonight, and I don't even think that's a discussion. Question is, if the Suns get desperate, right, if this is game 6 and it's 3-2, do they start Landale and bring Ayton off the bench? I mean, that's crazy, right? Because Ayton is a max contract player. He should be obviously the better option. I don't know what contract Landale is on, but I can guarantee you it's probably not over $10 million a year. It's probably not over $5 million. Obviously, outside of the Nuggets, the other team that's feeling great about this DeAndre Ayton situation right now is Indiana, because they have to feel excellent about that offer being matched right about now, because they could be stuck with Ayton on that giant rookie contract extension, and that would be rough, and you would have to pick between Miles Turner and him, and you really wouldn't be able to get rid of Ayton, so you would have to trade Miles Turner. It would have been a whole situation. Thankfully for Indiana fans, if you exist, you dodged that bullet. I haven't completely given up on Ayton entirely, mostly because I think he might be a Maverick this summer, so I have to say I have confidence in him. But realistically, he has all the tools. He has everything. That's why he was drafted so high, but he just doesn't use them. Like, bro is 280 and can dunk on people's heads, and he's taking those little mini jump hooks like he's not athletic. Like, you're not Jokic, dude. Dunk on someone's head. It has to be just incredibly frustrating if you're a Suns fan. I remember the Mavs-Suns series last year. I was dying laughing because DeAndre Ayton got played off the floor by Dwight Powell in multiple games. Dwight fucking Powell. And this season, it's more of the same, which is disappointing because he's getting outplayed again by Jock Landale. That's enough of the Ayton slander. Maybe he'll figure it out. I have no idea. Both series are now 2-2 though, and since my Mavs are out of this, I really don't have a horse in this race, so I love all the amazing series going on right now. It's incredibly entertaining and great for the league, and I'm done with finals now, so more content consistently coming your way. But yeah, anyway, have a good one.
Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court.